Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I would like to talk about, just like a quick question. Who is your Goliath? Who is your Goliath? And I just want to go straight to the point. I was reading the Bible, and in First Samuel, on how the David and Goliath, how David defeated Goliath in the battle. What amazes me was how the Israels were preparing themselves in the battle, right? And the Philistines were also preparing themselves in the battle, and they camped in the battle. They were camping. So it's like when David went over, when David was actually involved in that battle, because he wasn't even kind of like prepared for the battle, because he wasn't included in that battle, in that situation in the first place. And what he did was he went quickly to fight Goliath. He did not waste any time. He was just like, let's go now, let's do it. But the Israelites were there, like they were camping, they were just taking their time. And there's something about taking your time in the battle. When it comes to praying for your family, when it comes to praying for a certain situation. And Goliath, it's kind of like this metaphor on when, for me, like in today's life, Goliath can be like this obstacle that you think that this dream that you want to achieve, that you think that you have been praying for so long, that can be a Goliath in our lives. And there is something about going quickly and believing in God, because what David did was he believed in God. He believed what God said about him. He believed who God is, and he reflected back on what God did, when he was attending the sheep. He did mention about the story about killing the lion and the bear, and he recognized that God was with him at that situation. God being with us at our previous breakthroughs. And he reflected back. He knew he was, and he knew that God was with him in that situation, and he went quickly and he killed Goliath. So the Israelites, they were just camping there, taking their time. And it says in the story that they were afraid. They were afraid of Goliath. They were afraid of him. So there is something about camping or dreading on a certain situation. It is like the more you dread on something, the more afraid you're going to get. But the sooner you start, and the sooner that you believe that God is with you, and God is for you, then it kind of like the more courageous you're going to be. So courage is in not only doing something, not just thinking about it, but also knowing that God is for you, and knowing that reflecting back on what God did for you. So who is your Goliath, and what are you gonna do in order to achieve, in order to break through it? Okay, so so I'll just read the First Samuel. And there was one thing that I wanted to add on. When David was, when he was kind of like getting, okay, so like he's going to fight for Goliath. Saul, who was a king at that time, he gave David his kind of like tools, equipments to fight for Goliath. And David tried them on, and he was like, nah, this is not for me. He used what he got. Okay, he used what he got. And there is something about, when we are going through a situation, and then we think that we need more faith, we need more God, we need more of something. But we already have what we need right now. And you already have what you need right now to do what God is asking you to do. So when it's something about, if you want to pray, or if you want to, proclaim about something, being in the presence of God, you already have all what you need right now. Okay, you don't need more of God or more of something, and there is that mindset that we have in our minds that, oh, I will wait until I am this ready to do something, or I will wait until I'm 100% ready in this area to praise God. I will wait until I have this and this and this and this, and then I will be thankful to God. But it is about using what you have right now for God to bless you with more later. So what David did was he used the stones, right, in the syringe to kill Goliath. He did not use a sword, nothing. He did not use a sword. He actually used the sword to chop his head after he killed him. But it is about using what you have, and also believing that God is for you, and God believes in you as well. So in 1 Samuel 17 verse 48. In 1 Samuel 17 verse 38, it says, "Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. 'I cannot go in these,' he said to Saul, 'because I'm not used to them.' So he took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand." You see, so he took what he had already in his hand. So it's amazing. It amazes me on how God uses what you have already, because if you know like the stories in the Bible, the story about Moses, he had a stick in the Bible, and what did God say? What do you have in your hand? And it's just amazing on how God uses what is already in your hand to bless you, to give you, to show you, to actually kind of like show you, give you kind of like the blessings, or to show you His presence using what you have already. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, for people to actually see His presence, or to see God, with what you have. So he says in verse 40, he says, then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, but put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his string in his hand approached the Philistine. So you can imagine on how he used what he was also used to, right? He was used to that because he kind of like he used his shepherd's bag. And what I'm trying to say is, you don't need more. We will tend to kind of like think that like we will need more faith to do something. But it says, if you have faith as bigger as a mustard seed, you can tell this mountain to move, and it will move. So it is about using what you have, and and in 1 Samuel 17 verse 48, as a Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag, taking out the stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead and he fell face on the ground. So you can imagine, because David ran quickly. But when you go back to, 1 Samuel 17, 1 Samuel 17, yeah, 1 Samuel 17, these Israelites were actually just camping, all of this time before even David, came to serve, his brothers and see like what they need, for the battle. These people were just, camping. And there is more into it on how, the more the more you kind of like dread on doing what is needed to be done, the longer it's gonna take, and the more afraid you're going to become, because it's no joke. Like, I think if David was just like, just taking his time, he also could have been, be like, okay, let me just look at this person, because Goliath was huge, right? He was he was a giant. He was super big, and he was a champion and all of this stuff. So it is about, trusting God and do what God is telling you to do, and do it with confidence, and do it with faith. Do it with faith, right? Yeah, so that is all what I have to share for now, and I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys, and stay blessed.